What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, before we get into today's video, make sure you're subscribed to my channel because this amount of people are not. Entitled parent tries to coach own daughter on how to treat retail staff rudely. So this is a story about my own mother. Yep, she's the entitled parent. So, I'm a young lady with a rather large chest. I'm an E in my country and I think a double D in the USA. Because of that, if I'm leaving the house, bras are mandatory. About 2 years ago, when I was 19, I bought the most comfortable bra I'd ever bought before. It was soft and silky, had nice thick straps, 5 back clamps, etc. I only had that bra for about 3 months until the underwire broke free and started to stab me. It happened at university, and when I got home that afternoon, I told my mother about it. I like to think I take good care of my bras, as I usually only get rid of them because I outgrew them or the straps became too loose beyond adjustment, but not because they break. The bra was $60 and only 3 months old, so maybe it was just defective? Bras really should not only last 3 months, so I was going to go to the store and ask for an exchange or refund. The only thing was, I did not have a receipt. Like I said, I take good care of my bras, so I did not think to keep the receipt. I also was not a part of their brand's customer reward service, as I only bought products there once for a sale, so they couldn't look up a name, membership, profile that I might have with them. I told this to my mum and wondered what should I do? Well, that's not okay, my mother started. You know what to do, right? Let them know that it's illegal for them to sell faulty products. Do not leave the store until you have that refunded. If the cashier says they can't refund it without a receipt, then ask to speak to the manager. They'll sort you out. My mother never worked in retail herself, but I, at this point in time, had been for about 4 to 5 years. I know the annoyance of the phrase, "Can I speak to your manager?" and I was not going to enforce that on an innocent civilian. No, I'm not going to do that, I replied. That would just be rude. Well, I could do it for you then. I'll just say, my daughter bought a defective bra which is illegal to sell, and we demand a refund because according to the law... No, we are not doing that either. It's not the cashier's fault that one bra happened to be defective. So I'm not going to treat them as if it is. I'll just go in, explain my situation, and ask what their policy is about refunds without a receipt. So you know what, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what I did. I walked in, found the cashier, and explained that my $60 bra broke in 3 months and I did not have the receipt in the friendliest and kindest way possible, because I know how much working retail sucks. The lady said that she did need some proof of purchase and asked me what day I bought it on. She was so kind and lovely as well. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, I looked at transactions 3 months ago and found the date of the exact $60 purchase. I gave her the date, she typed that into her computer and found a transaction on that date for $60 in the exact bra, colour and size as mine. She printed that off, scanned that and refunded the original purchase, all while a different attendant found the same bra in my size off the shelf and brought over all 3 colour options in case I wanted the replacement in a different colour. I chose the original colour, thanked both ladies for their amazing help and walked out of the store with my new and non-defective bra. See mum, you can have a social interaction without belittling retail staff, acting like a know-it-all and, God forbid, demand to speak to the manager. Just be kind. Yeah guys, I mean, if there's one thing I've learned from reading through stories on this subreddit, it's that if you want to get something in a retail store, just be nice to people. You know, how many times do we see people being entitled and then not getting what they came in for? How about just be nice, like OP, and maybe you might get what you actually want? It's kind of a crazy thought, and I might be wrong here, but how about this? If you're kind to someone, they're going to be kind back to you. Wow, isn't that amazing? Yeah. Overall, OP, you did the right thing, clearly, ignoring your entitled mum, and you got what you wanted and everyone was happy and it wasn't a terrible situation, so well done to you. Moving on to our second story now. Entitled mum yanks off my beanie, revealing my battered, mostly bald head to her entire family. So this obviously happened before quarantine, but I didn't have Reddit at the time, and it's still by far the most mortifying experience I've ever had. So I, 15-year-old female, struggle with this disorder called trichotillomania. I hope I've got that right. It's basically where you use hair pulling as a coping mechanism when things get stressful in life. At the time this happened, I was almost completely bald because of it. I had patches of wiry, regrowing hair and some completely bald patches. It was not a pretty sight, and I wore a beanie 24/7 to cover it up. Luckily, I had really supportive, understanding friends who did so much to cheer me up on a daily basis. So my good friend G invited me round to her house for dinner one night. I'd known her family since primary school, so I was aware of her mum's strict strict dinner table policies. They were pretty acceptable, no coats, hats, elbows on the table, etc. But I did figure my friend had explained my situation to her and that she would understand. This was definitely not the case. She was visibly uncomfortable with me wearing the beanie as we sat down to eat. Excuse me, would you mind taking off your hat at the dinner table? I immediately become uncomfortable and start considering how to explain the situation in front of my good friend's younger brother. My friend said, "Mum, it's okay, just leave it." The entitled mum snaps back, "Don't talk back to me like that. This is my dinner table and I don't allow outdoor clothes during meal times." EM, look, I'm really sorry, but I prefer to keep it on for personal reasons. The entitled mum then gets up. "This is ridiculous, just take off the hat." When I didn't budge, she grabbed the top of my beanie and started to pull it off. My hands darted to my head, trying to resist. She went to make a comment about me being childish, but promptly shut up as soon as she revealed my battered, patchy and bald head. Her mouth kind of hung open for a second or two as the rest of the table stayed silent. My good friend, bless her, was furious with her entitled mother. She yanked my precious beanie from her hands and quickly rushed me away from the table. Oh man, what sort of person do you have to be to hear someone say, "I don't want to do this for personal reasons"? That means they're personal, private to them, obviously, but still go ahead and say, "No, you know what, this is my house, my rules." Just what a horrible host, what a horrible parent. Just think for the person in the story, like think for OP, how troubling it must be and how self-conscious they probably feel anyway because of their disorder. Then you get an entitled person like this just making it a whole bunch worse. That's not going to make them feel good about themselves, is it? Now moving on to our final story of today's video. My entitled dad spends my money on his girlfriend's car. So, for a bit of background story, my sister was obviously my dad's favourite child. She was studying to be a teacher, she was athletic, very popular, always spoke her mind, etc. Then you have me. I was and still am very shy and not a social butterfly at all. I also have another learning difficulty called dyspraxia. In quick terms, it's where my coordinations aren't correct, so I'm very clumsy. That being said, I wasn't athletic at all and loved drawing. My dad did not approve of this at all and made remarks like, "You need to find something that will actually get you a job. You should be more like your sister." And my favourite, "I'm only thinking about you." No, he hasn't and never will. So anyway, on to the story. When me and my older sister were younger, my dad's side of the family would put our birthday money into our own bank account, so we could open it when we turned 18. When my older sister turned 18, she got taken straight to the bank so they could get her money on the day of her birthday, a full whopping £800. Eventually, my 18th birthday rolls around. I go visit my dad and see his side of the family. I forgot to mention that he and my mum divorced when I was 1. Everything was really nice, but there was no mention of getting my money or anything. When we get home, I asked my older sister about it, as it was odd that it wasn't brought up. She replied with, "You should say something when you next go over." So a couple weeks passed and I visit my dad without my older sister. I got the courage to actually say something, as I hate the idea of conflict. I cannot remember the full conversation properly, as I'm now 24, so this will be paraphrased. We were also in my dad's car when this part happened. "Dad, can I ask what is going on with my money in the bank?"
"What do you mean?"
"Well, you know the birthday money that goes into our banks and we can get out on our 18th birthday, like older sister did?"
"Oh, that one."
At this point, I remember being confused, thinking what other one would I be talking about, but I kept my mouth shut. I nodded, "Yeah?"
"Oh, it's gone."
I was obviously very confused. "What do you mean?"
"Well, I spent it to help pay for my girlfriend's car to be fixed."
I didn't really say much after that, as I didn't know what to say. Yeah, I'm not surprised. When I got home, I explained the situation to my mum, as she knew about it as well. She was furious. She was saying stuff like, "Who does he think he is, spending your money on his pathetic excuse of a girlfriend?" She then told me to demand my money back, otherwise she would say something, which I knew for a fact she would. So, next visit to my dad came, and again I asked him about the money. My dad said, "Oh, me and my girlfriend talked about it and we'll be giving you the money back next time I see you." I told my mum when I got home, to which she responded, "Good, so he should." Now looking back at it, I think the only reason he said that was to shut me up. So, next time rolls around and he comes up with some excuse along the lines of, "We don't have the money this week, maybe next time I see you." Over a year and a bit passes. I'm constantly asking about the money and getting pretty much the same response. I get to a point where I just stop asking, as I know I'm not going to get it. As the years go on, me and my older sister decide to visit our gran and granddad without my dad, as my older sister can now drive. When we sit down and get talking, my sister turns to me and goes in front of my granddad. "Is there something you'd like to tell Granddad about your 18th birthday money? My granddad looks at me and asks, what is it? I turn to look at my sister with the what the heck look, and I slowly turn back to my granddad. You know, the money I was supposed to get on my 18th birthday, well, I never got it. Dad spent it on his girlfriend's car. My granddad's expression went from calm to angry within a second. He said in anger, he has no right to do that. I'll be speaking to him about this. I thanked him and he walked off to the kitchen and back with his wallet. He tries to hand me about 500 quid, saying, you've waited far too long for this. Here. I told him I wasn't accepting it. The conversation ended up being one of them back and forth things, him saying yes and me saying no. It got to the point where he was like, just take it, I'll get the money back off your dad. I took the money and thanked him repeatedly. About a couple of weeks later, I visited my dad and he was angry. He started yelling at me that I shouldn't have told my granddad about the money, and now he owes my granddad even more money than what he already did. The only person I actually felt sorry for was my granddad and gran, as the amount of money he owes them is beyond a joke. Both me and my sister don't have any contact with my dad anymore, as he has done much worse things as time has gone on. Anyway, thanks for reading. Wow, guys, what a story to end on. OP, I do completely agree with you. I feel horrible for your grandparents. They've given so much to your dad and got nothing in return. I do have to say though, you've done the right thing by not having any contact with your dad. It's clear that he's just quite selfish and doesn't really care for you that much, I'm sorry to say. Yeah, you've done the right thing. Stay away from that man. Seriously though, like, how much of a failure as a dad do you need to be to steal from your own child? That is wild. Anyway guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Entitled Parents. I really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, drop a like on this video as always and subscribe with notifications on. The button is going to be either here or over here. We don't really know, and I can't be bothered to try and work it out, but also watch some more videos as well. Playlist on screen if you are bored during lockdown and you want something to do. I'm always here for you guys.